Wonder what the ratings were like yesterday for the college football committee ranking show.
Yeah.
Probably very strong.
Yep.
Maybe the strongest of all time.
Controversy, and the first time they had to make a decision since 2014.
So the betting market on the yes-no playoff odds going from Saturday night into Sunday morning was absolutely fascinating. I mean, at DraftKings, once Alabama won the SEC title game, and I tweeted this out, they moved Alabama to -$8 to make it.
Yeah.
So
all three teams were $7
at some point.
Yes. After Florida State won, one book put Florida State up to $7.
Oh.
After Florida State won, and then all the talk on social media was, well, obviously they got to be in. Power 5 conference, won the game again, won by double digits. It's got to be Florida State. So Florida State, Texas, and Alabama all were at least $7.
That is wild. I brought this up last week, and I said my analogy was how you bet drafts, either the NFL draft or the NBA draft. I said you have to remove personal opinions from who you think should be in the playoff, and you need to bet just on what you think the committee is going to do. And based on that, I was able to grab Alabama at plus money on Sunday morning to make the playoff. I didn't even see Luke, our producer, at a better angle. He bet Florida State at plus 260 to miss at some point. So I didn't even see that one. And it was in Las Vegas. I think I only saw one book offering, and it was like for a very small window. And after I bet it, they like took it off the board, like all of it. So I couldn't even. But that was the play to me. And I told you like 2 months ago, I'm like, Paul, they're somehow going to manage to do this. Watch, they will get it. And here's the thing.
You did say over Texas, though.
Oh yeah, and here, right. Okay. You ready for this?
Go ahead.
I can say it because I can't prove it.
Okay.
But I am convinced that if Jordan Travis never got hurt,
yes,
the Seminoles would have made the playoffs, and the committee still would have found a way to get Alabama in over Texas. They would have.
What would they? Wow.
They would have flipped it just like they did yesterday.
They would have said
Florida State was ahead of both teams until yesterday.
I know, but what would the reasoning have been?
The win over Georgia is enough in our eyes. They were the number one team in the country, back-to-back champs, 29-game winning streak. Alabama stopped all of it.
So someone did tweet out, did say they'll put Bama over Texas and say, well, head-to-head didn't come into play because there was such a gap between the teams.
And it wasn't the same Milrow.
Okay.
Wasn't the same team that we heard early on in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the biggest mistake the committee made, in my opinion, the entire time was not immediately moving Florida State down the board. And we said this. We pointed it out and we warned them. We're like, don't do this, please, because you're going to take a knife and stick it into the stomach and the kidneys of every single Florida State fan across the country, because you know it's going to happen. At some point, they're going to come back and say the injury is too much to overcome. So then why would you wait and do that until they went 13-0 and won the ACC championship? Why not do that the minute that Jordan Travis was ruled out for the entire year?
Yeah.
And drop them behind Texas and Alabama at that point? That was the worst part the committee could have done.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel, that was a tough scene when you saw the video of them watching and they don't get in. And then Travis tweeting, I wish I would have broke my leg sooner, to show you the depth and how good this team was. Number one, I disagree. They should have been in. Number two, they wouldn't give Michigan a game. This defense has taken it to the next level, and the defense has been awesome the last couple games. Is one person going to point out there's a month off between games and Rodemaker was going to be back?
Very good.
How does someone not point that out? Well, they have a third-string quarterback. They lost Travis. Okay, well, they won the 2 games, but then they're not going to play Michigan with a third-string quarterback. Not one person said it. The other thing, they treated Florida State like they were a Mountain West Conference or a non-power league school, what they've done. We had the first rankings in 2014. Florida State was undefeated. They finished third behind 2 one-loss teams. We go out with undefeated Florida State, and they can't make it. Mm-hmm. Incredible how that happens. The committee also, the most egregious thing, this is from Heather Dinich, and I'm sure a lot of people turned it off to watch the NFL. That's fine. So they put the 4 teams in, and then they do the group of 5 with the New Year's Eve bowl games, New Year's 6. Liberty got in over SMU, and Liberty played one of the easiest schedules in college football. They asked Corrigan, the committee chair, why Liberty undefeated over SMU, even though SMU played a much stronger schedule. He said, quote, you can only play the people on the schedule, and they were dominant on the field. You can't make it up at this point. There's no consistency. You take
zero.
Liberty to play Oregon, but then you say, well, yeah, okay, you went undefeated, but we have to go with Alabama, and you shut up. So you're right. The whole way The whole way they were ahead of Texas every single week in the rankings, and then Texas goes from, but you have to have Texas ahead of Bama, you have to. But they have Texas jumps from 7 to 3 by beating Oklahoma State. And if you feel that way about Florida State, why not put them like 7th? Why not have Georgia behind them or something? Right. So, and again, this all is tied into money. It's follow the money. It's all the SEC and ESPN tied at the hip. It's a TV show. It's about ratings. I respect Reese Davis, but how many times are you going to lie and say, well, our graphics guy is getting it in. We don't know. The helmets are lined up behind Herb Street, all the four teams that made it. You don't think, okay, Heather Dinich right before. She doesn't get anything right. Here's my picks to make it. Right now, who had Texas third? That was a surprise. But Heather Dinich nailed it, too, as far as her rankings when she tweeted it out as well. But again, as I tweeted this as well, this conference won nothing before the BCS. Nothing. Look it up. I think it was 8 undisputed national titles from 1908 on. And then what happened? Then the BCS came into play. Who created the BCS? Roy Kramer, the former commissioner of the SEC. And then you started to hear this crap every single week. Grind, best league, week in, week out.
Sure, all
games matter. Because ESPN has the rights to the games in the SEC. And then it became, they get all these teams in. It's the most difficult. In 2004, Auburn went undefeated with Jason Campbell, Cadillac Williams, and Ronnie Brown. No one cared. Nobody said a word. Undefeated shutout. It was, come on, guys. It's USC and Oklahoma. Let's be real. Auburn's not going this little Auburn team, SEC, get out of here. And then everything changed with the BCS because they had the rights and they were tied in. They got to put the SEC in. And that's how everything changed. You remember that team. I mean, those guys were first-round picks. No one cared. USC, Oklahoma, Miami, they dominated college football. There was no talk of the SEC.
Well, I'll go one further here then, too. Can you ever imagine a scenario where a 13-0 SEC team that lost their quarterback would be left out of the playoff?
Oh, come on. Absolutely. Flip the role.
There's absolutely no chance. So I've always warned, this might never happen in our lifetime, but folks, what comes around goes around at some point, okay? So it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. And now it's been like 20 years of this, so maybe it's going to continue forever, but now it's going to be a 12-team playoff, so who the hell knows? But it's just they've had so many favors. And that's why, why do you think the SEC has won the national title like so many times going back for 20 years? Now, do they get the best recruits? Sure they do. But also, like a lot of guys go to the NFL, and I always hear about most NFL players. How many players have made the NFL and been a disaster for the SEC or total busts? A lot. Then they couldn't play at the next level. But because they are always like an unranked team can go from receiving votes to third in the country with 2 wins. Like that kind of thing does not happen anywhere else. And this year when the schedule and the league overall is the weakest it's been in a minute.
Hello.
Right? They're still going to get the breaks. Why? And look at the best out of conference win was
Kentucky over Louisville.
Or Miss State over Arizona a long time ago.
Yeah, but they're out of it though. But that was Who
and
cares about Miss State? But
then Ole Miss beat Tulane.
Yeah, but they didn't have the quarterback.
No, I understand that. I'm trying to come up with the best non-conference wins.
Right. No, that's it. You just nailed it. They had a losing record head-to-head against the SEC, and they had a losing record non-conference against other Power 5 teams. It was in a good league. That's a fact.
But they were going to do whatever they could to get this team in.
And then they roll out Sankey there the day of the Saturday before the SEC game, and he's talking about Sesame Street and, look at the price of the get-in with the get-in price to get into the game. Well, it's in driving distance, number one. It's $700 for an Oregon or Washington fan to fly here. What are we doing?
Yeah.
We're talking about what the get-in price is to get to the game? Get the hell out of here. Thank God this is over. It's just nauseous watching this stuff. And good for Booger McFarland to at least put up a fight and a stink. And people keep receipts, too. Kirk Herbstreit in October of 2014 with a tweet. Florida State fans, quit crying. Don't worry about it. Just win your games. You'll be fine. 2014, undefeated, ranked third. This year, undefeated, can't get in. Again, you think they play in the Mountain West, how they treat them. Mm-hmm. So how about this Dennis Dodd tweet? This will only hasten Florida State's efforts to leave the ACC, in my opinion.
Of course it will. Of course.
I mean, you're looking around. They are mad as hell what happened when you heard from the conference commissioner, the AD, what Norvell said, and the other one, too. If there is a gambling standpoint here, a little bit, why not lie about injuries now? Now, that was obvious. He broke his leg. But what if Florida State comes out and say, you know what, I think he'll be back.
Yeah,
We're getting good news here.
Sure.
Maybe an Aaron Rodgers
not
type
as
situation.
bad as we originally thought.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.